Hello and welcome to Universal Heritage Television Nigeria. We welcome you once again to our Matter of Concern program. My name is Afam Echi, your host. Today we are going to talk about a growing phenomenon in Igbo land, and that is the issue of single parenthood. I have two persons to discuss this matter. On my immediate left is Elder Lambert Ojukwu. Elder Lambert Ojukwu, you are welcome to our program.
Thank you very much.
And I have to add that Lambert Ojukwu is the publisher of Nigerian Newspoint. Madam Adim Madumele Chinwe is the Deputy Director in Subeb, is the next guest to talk about this matter. Madam, you are welcome to our program.
Thank you so much.
Now, back to the issue. I remember in the past, it's like a taboo, it's like a sacrilege to see a woman, a young girl, who is at home and acting like a single parent. Maybe he's gotten a child, and there are all kinds of names that are tagged to her. Some will say, okay, let me go vernacular, say, you know, things like that. And today, it is like it's an accepted social norm. Madam, I'm going to ask you, why is it so? Why is it no longer a sacred? Why do people no longer find out a young girl is at home in his parents' house and he has a child? And beyond that, we also see other women, you know, the issue of single parents, you know, have come from different other circumstances which we are going to look at. I'm not going to volunteer the information, but let me dwell with you on why it is no longer an issue for any person in Igbo land.
Oh, thank you for that question. Well, there are so many reasons. Actually, it depends on the circumstance of the single parenting. Sometimes it could be a case of rape of a minor. Sometimes it could be a case of domestic violence and then break up between married couples, and then there's already a child or children involved, and then the separation will now result to single parenting. It could also be a case of adoption. Maybe a woman is not able to conceive or did not marry and she's now aged. She wants a child to, you know, look after her in her old age, and she goes to adopt a child, or even
okay, no, madam, we'll come to the circumstances that create single.
Okay.
But what I want to find out is, maybe let me take it to Ojukwu Lambert.
Okay.
You know, why it is no longer an issue. People no longer find out single parent. It doesn't matter the circumstances that bring it about. Mm-hmm. You know, earlier in our society, people live their lives so much so and guard against the situations that bring about single parenthood. But today it is like nobody cares again.
No, thank you very much. The idea is it is because of external influence into our culture, you know, if you like, what you call civilization. A lot of people are trying to measure up. A lot of people want to buy, you know, the customs, aligned customs. You know, people no longer want to stick to tradition. That is one. Secondly, and that influence is coming from religion. No, religion is also aligned to our culture. So a lot of people tell, there are a lot of things we do which religion, present religion, especially those who say they are born again. I mean, they are Pentecostal. Pentecostalism has affected, you know, the choice of our culture. There are certain things we call taboo, like what you're saying. Some of them we say it's no longer a taboo because down out there in the West, outside the world, they don't see it as a taboo. They will tell you a child is a human being. That is what matters. But that is not what it's supposed to be. The African culture is being eroded because of a lot of external influence. I think that is what part of it. And then religion. People seem to be swallowing hook, line and sinker, whatever, you know, they get. People no longer study a lot. Our educational system is also eroded.
Okay.
It's coming down. I think that is
let me, madam, do you agree with him on the issue of religion? Because some people may likely think that religion kind of should condition you, have that level of chastity that because you be, in the case of religion, most churches will frown at somebody who is not married because it will lead people to a lot of wrong conduct, sexual misbehavior and all of that. So when he said religion is responsible, do you agree with him?
Yes, I do, in the way, because if a girl, a lady is put in a family way, for example,
okay, through rape, okay,
or any other true rape, yes, for you to, you don't expect the religion's view to advocate for what do you call it, abortion. Okay. That is that is causing two wrongs. This child has already been raped, and now you also want to kill. So what do we do? Accept the situation and the condition of that woman to have the child. Okay. I mean the religious side of it. That is what. Okay. That is what option.
Will not support aborting of any child.
Of any child, no matter how it's conceived.
Yeah, the victim will be allowed to go through
the normal process and keep the child.
Okay.
Okay. So in that aspect, I would say he's right. Religion has a big influence on single parenting.
Okay. Okay, now let me still dwell with you, madam. What are the other circumstances you have talked about earlier on? You spoke about rape, and there are one or two other things,
I spoke about domestic violence in a situation where there is domestic violence and the partners have to just separate, divorce or even separate. Okay. And now one of the partners have to go with the children. And it's now a case of single parenting. Okay. There is also a scenario where maybe a man or even a woman would decide to adopt a child without being married. Okay? There's also a circumstance, a situation, although it's a foreign one, where a woman would decide that I want to be a parent on my own without even knowing who the father of this child is. And they go to a sperm bank and go for artificial insemination. In that case, both she and even the child, they don't even know who the father is. It is their own choice. It is a foreign culture. It's a foreign thing.
That is where the woman takes the initiative.
The woman takes the initiative to be a single parent on her own.
Okay.
Because you know what, there are certain things involved in single parenting. If it's a case of separation, for example, the man will still be liable to certain responsibilities to the child and even the mother, and has certain custody rights and all that. But in a case where you have what I spoke about earlier, artificial insemination, the woman just wants to be on her own, not to have any legal entanglements with anybody about the child.
Okay. Okay. OJ, from what she just said, we can identify two factors majorly. We can group them. Let me say what one can describe as a willful action, where somebody on his own elects to become a single parent. There are also the situation where circumstances play around and force somebody into such situation. Do you still have any other case where it's factors that create single parenthood?
Like I said, if you have, I agree with her. That's the only thing I have to say. I think I agree with her to some extent. But you must also know that single parenthood is not a choice, something done by choice per se. Apart from the last option she gave, it's not something people do. You don't want to willfully. So here you want to say you want to be a single parent. It's not an easy one. It's a choice that is aligned. But people are doing it, especially, I don't think it's very common. I don't think it's very common. But what I want to say is single parenthood. I think we have to come to that one. It is very disadvantageous. Very, very disadvantageous.
Okay, we'll talk about the disadvantages. Yes. But there is something are saying that he said it's not common. It's not common. There is something.
No, it's not a pattern of. It's not our system.
It's not cultural.
It's not cultural. Yeah. It's not cultural. But you were asking about why it's no longer a taboo. Okay. Do you understand? Like I told you, civilization. Civilization is that a lot of people in those days, we used to, Africans or Nigerians or in our different society, in Igbo land, for instance, families were very knitted together. Okay. Now, because of the vagaries in economy and everything, people are living apart. Do you understand what I'm saying? In those days, a child can be, you finish. Remember, in those days, when you finish, graduate. At the second, or even when you are in the elementary school level, you go to your grandma in the village. There are communal living. Yeah. It's no longer working now. People are looking for how to survive. The moment you get a child, you get freedom. That is what is happening. Then, secondly, people no longer raise a lot of children now. People no longer raise a lot of children, so it's also affecting that. Because if you used to have a lot of children, in the process of that, if you you may have 4 girls. And those 4 girls, you may struggle to train 2. The other 2 may, become social malaise. They become trouble to the society. Where you don't train them, and they begin to hawk water and things, and people, rape comes in and abuse comes in. And this thing we're talking about, it's not like a choice. So there are a lot of challenges to it. So those things are no longer. But now you find somebody, people are becoming aware. They say, no, let's have 2 girls. Even if it's 2 girls you have, you handle them. Make sure they go to school. And doing that, you cannot, these children cannot go astray. So inadvertently, poverty is a part of it too. Poverty. Yes.
As a causative factor.
But yes, it is. If a family has 4 children, okay, 4 girls, I've just told you now, like in the villages. If you go to villages now, you know what I'm talking about. Like poverty now.
Yeah, so how does it affect?
It engenders it. That's what I'm saying. That is what we are talking about. It's no longer a taboo. But the problem is, it's no longer, if you have 4 children now, and they are girls, you are not able to train the 4. Okay. You manage to put 2 in school, and you tell the other 2 start going to, doing many things to support the family. The usual thing. Those children
will be exposed to situations
like that.
Force them into
that. Then when you now bring it to the village circle, the chairman of the traditional council has that type of problem. The secretary has that type of problem because of poverty. That's how that is what brought about their children having unwanted children. So when that happens, there's nothing the traditional institution can do. That is why it's not becoming a taboo. I'm trying to answer. Okay, that's why there's a little relaxing. Yes, it's no longer strong. Yeah. The taboo aspect of it is no longer strong
because so many people are
involved in it because of circumstances. So it goes down to bad leadership.
Bad leadership.
Yes.
Okay. Madam, the issue of can you look at the issue of divorce? You mentioned adoption. Today there is I don't have any statistics to support this, but it is held very widely that the divorce rate is very, very high in our society.
Yes, and that is true.
Some people also hold the view that it is part of the reason why we have the growing phenomenon of single parenthood. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do. Actually, like you said, I don't have the statistics, but I work with a lot of NGOs, women NGOs. So I happen to know that since the time of coronavirus, where people were staying at home, there was a very explosive increase in domestic violence. Okay. When couples had to stay together more often than not, and there were issues, and there were issues, no movement restrictions, money and all that. So there was a lot of domestic violence that led to divorce, high rate of divorce. Okay, so in a case where such occurs, the tendency and the advisable thing to do is to separate. And if the children are tender, obviously they will go with the mother for better care. So in the scenario like that, what can society do? You can't frown at such a scenario because you're trying to save lives here.
Circumstantial.
Yes, you are trying to save lives here. Now, in a situation where there is death of one partner,
okay, death,
the other partner alive becomes a single parent.
That's a circumstantial. Again.
It's circumstantial, yes. Death can lead to single parenting also.
Yeah.
So you don't expect society to also frown at that. So those are circumstantial.
Okay, there's something OJ said earlier on that it is not, I don't know how he put it, whether it is not easy or people, that the willful action, the choice, people deliberately going to...
It's not a choice, that's what I mean. It's accidental most of the time.
So now, okay, OJ, let me ask OJ, because I noticed a situation, there are situations that, in fact, you looked at the issue of Western orientation, what we copy from outside,
yes.
the Western lifestyle influencing our way of living. Because I do know there is a celebrity, a Nigerian celebrity, a very popular artist, you know, back in the 80s or so, you know, on her own, is very well educated. I don't need to mention.
And doesn't want to marry.
You know, yeah, and doesn't want to marry. On her own, I think she got 2 boys. You know, and people suspected that it's because of interaction with another popular musician in this country that fathered the 2 kids. And the woman would not want you to
mention it.
Ask her any question. I was back then when we were doing some media job. If you ask her the question, who fathered the kids? In fact, you have spoiled her day. Okay. You know, so some other women on their own. You know, she's a very sophisticated lady, trained abroad and very popular in the society. But on her own, she felt that she cannot stand the issue of maybe going to a man and taking some rubbish from the man. Some women, some ladies today, on their own, elect to become single parents.
True.
Well, yes.
Women emancipation or self-emancipation.
That is what I'm telling you.
Well, I don't know how to place it, but I do know that something like that.
No. It comes. That's what I'm telling you. It's a line. It's coming from abroad, from the West.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, when you say it is not freely out of choice,
I disagreed with him.
Okay, you disagree with him?
Yes, I do.
No, let me tell you. When I say why I said what I said, because it's circumstantial. First, I've given you an example of if you have 4.
No. The circumstances you mentioned are very well.
Very well known.
But
now this one we are talking.
The willfulness.
Is it?
The willfulness.
Yeah, the willfulness. Are you insisting that no person on his own can willfully choose to become a single mother or father?
No, but it's not much. That's what I'm saying. Comparatively, the percentage is very low. So people who will do this are maybe, like you say, sophisticated women. When you mean sophistry, you mean somebody who must have been influenced. Because naturally, not in Igbo land, not in Yoruba land, not in Hausa land, can a woman here in Africa, anywhere, get up and say, I want to be a single parent? It doesn't. The influence must come from abroad. These women who do social things abroad, when they copy it and come down, they begin to talk about, you see them on television telling you how a man should be, cutting onions and she should be, it doesn't work. Because here, naturally, if your wife, like madam, with due respect, is cooking, and the husband comes to the kitchen, tell him, go away, go and stay in the parlor, watch. It's not your position. The kitchen belongs to you. You see how we look at it. But the woman expects you to be...
It's true that the kitchen belongs only to you.
That's what women say. That's what women say. Except we also, wait now, except now. In those days, for instance, when our mamas and papas were cooking, they cook in the kitchen. You know, man not often go to kitchen. It's like a man going to market to buy ogo and a crayfish. When you see him now, what will you tell him? Okay. Any man do it in Igbo land. It's a taboo too, kind of. You carry pocket, you know what I mean? You carry a bag, and you go into the bag and say, Madam, how much is crayfish?
Which generation he's coming from?
No, wait now. Whatever generation, even if it's a modern generation. In modern generation, it's skeptical. It's few. Now, I know it's a modern generation. That's what I'm telling you. It's an influence. Okay. We are trying to emphasize about the influence. And we are talking about the foreign influence. Because what the people are doing it now. We remember we were talking about it. We started with it was a taboo.
Yeah.
And I told you now civilization has tabooed our tabooness. There's no more taboo anywhere. because of circumstance, poverty, economic, viability. You have to survive. In those days, we used to do communal things. It's no longer happening.
Yeah,
in those days, professors were trained to look after the community. The community wouldn't go get palm trees and this. Also, you abroad, you come back and it's no longer working.
Yeah.
So most of this influence where a woman will be cooking and the husband will come into the kitchen now is a little coming from outside. He wasn't there before.
Can I take him up at least on this one?
Madam, you said that would be a topic for another day. Let me give you 1 minute. Let me give you 1 minute to respond to him.
Yes.
We'll elaborate on it later.
It is not all about external influence. Okay?
Yeah.
There is the environment that we are in right now, the circumstances, the economic circumstances of where we are right now.
Yes.
Let me paint a typical scenario.
Okay.
A working class lady. The man is also working. In this time and age, there is no house help. Now, this working class lady is pregnant. Okay, how would you view it in that her heavy pregnant state? She has to get up very early in the morning, do the house chores, do the cooking, get ready and be at work by 7:30, 8. Then after work, she has to go to market, get all the things, come back, still go to the kitchen, cook and all that. And the man comes back with her and starts reading papers or watching news. There is no house help. Is it when she collapses in that state, you will now wake up and try to be a man and bring money? What if you lose your wife in that situation?
Now, let me reply. That's why in that case, there is an agreement. What you are saying is not very common.
It's not very common.
It's not very common. It's very few.
Time and age.
In this time and age, even what you are saying is not very common. What I meant earlier when I said was like a woman is cooking, she's natural, she's okay, she's fine, and the man is there. You give him natural support. Most women wouldn't like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? That is the African ideology. But where you have the circumstance permit that, it's natural. Even when the man is sick, the wife will do something. When the woman is sick, the husband, even in the old age, you can do something. But let me also tell you, if the woman, by that time, the woman must have made the pot of soup. She must have prepared stew. Your own is only to go there and put on the gas and turn it on and make it warm for her to eat. So naturally, you can't cook, you can't make soup. So what are you a part of the kitchen? Tacitly speaking, you are not.
Okay. I think I get.
You see my idea. So this idea of supporting, that one is not what I'm talking about. I'm not saying it's sacrosanct for you not to come to kitchen. That's what I'm saying. After you can make coffee, make tea, and give your children and take them to school. That's not what I'm doing. I do school run. My wife don't do school run at all. I do. Do you understand what I'm saying? There are people who say they won't do that, but it happens. But what I'm saying, naturally, a woman goes to the market, she's okay, the family is fine. They will come in there and begin to cook with her. It's not our style.
Yeah, well,
that's what I'm talking about. Preparation in the house, the family chore, thing in the kitchen. It's not our style for the man to stand side by side with the wife. But when the woman is sick or the man, vice versa, it's natural. That one is not what I'm talking about. Okay. Nobody is a fool. You must, your wife, if she's sick, you help.
Okay.
But remember that she does the soup, she will do it because there are men who don't know how to cook indomie.
Yeah.
When times have changed, they have to start learning all these things.
You have to teach.
Yes.
Which means they
have to be willing to learn.
There are men who are
have to be willing to learn.
I am willing to learn.
Fine.
What OJ is driving at is an ideal situation. Where roles are defined. And then every person knows
what he will do.
Because a man that is seen in the kitchen where a woman is.
It's like monitoring her.
Okay. So it looks like, now let us look at the issue of single parenthood. Where does it occur more? On the side of men or on the side of women? Because we seem to focus more that it is as if it's only the women that are victims to this issue. So where do we have more?
Well, you talk about the ratio. Yes. I think it should be more on the female side than on the male. Yes. Because of these circumstances that we have raised, that raise single parenting. It's on this part of the world anyway. It's you see more of young girls or women being single parents than you see men being single parents. I can't even think of any man I see really be a single parent. Is even if it is a case of death of the wife, you see them bundling their children to their mother or their sister or something.
Whatever.
You know, they can't cope.
They can't cope.
They just can't cope. There is a lot involved in single parenting.
It's not a man's world, if you want to use the word.
Child care.
Child care.
Okay, let me stay with you, madam. And now, can you look at, let me focus on, tell us what benefits are there. OJ will tell us the disadvantages.
In single parenting?
Yes, if there is any.
Well, maybe I will say there's more time now for bonding with the child or the children. But in the case of a complete couple, there's limited time because you have to have time for so many other things, responsibilities, and also time for your spouse. Now you now have limited time for the children. But where is a single parent? There's no third party for you to pay attention to. It is you and the children. Okay, so maybe that time of bonding, and if in that case you now have a better chance, opportunity to instill the kind of values you want in those children. In a normal setting where you have couples, of course there will be disagreements in certain issues, or maybe method of discipline, or kind of values and all that. And at a point the children might get confused. Who are we even listening to on this particular issue? And of course they will always tend to decide that they think is easier for them. They will start comparing, mommy is too strict, daddy is better. That sort of a thing. And it will always affect them in future. But when it is only one person and they are looking up to you, you're the role model, you know, what you say stands, is your word that they will stick to.
Okay, let us look at the disadvantages. What is not right?
Obviously, the disadvantage, even from what Madam is saying, I can pick one or two disadvantages from it. If you talk about bonding, bonding is a holistic thing. It's supposed to be a dual one. When it comes to parenting, when there is a separation, it's no longer bonding. Do you know why? The woman is bonding with the children. What about the man? Do you understand? There is a lacuna in the life of the child. If it's a girl, a female, the bonding for me may be parochial. One why? Because the mother is very good. So if you have this type of quality of woman like this, you say, what about if the woman is not as credible as a director? That's why I think when it's circumcision, you know, a small girl who was raped, and she was beyond 12. Because the parents were training two other persons, and she was among the ones who were not, they were not able to train. Say, let these ones go to school first. After you go, in between the lines, something happened. She is not, she doesn't even know what motherhood is, and the child is growing and she's growing. Do you understand? So it's going to advance each other. So we are talking about in a situation. So disadvantages there. That child produced under that circumstance becomes a challenge to the society. That is why we cannot borrow from the culture of the white man. They will immediately come in, and I think we have it a welfare, woman welfare, whatever commission. That's what they're supposed to do. I don't know how they are doing it. They're supposed to take the child from that and help. These parents will be coming now to visit the child. The greater, more knowledgeable women in the commission will now be training that child. So that's disadvantage when there is single parenthood. The man, you know, he doesn't instill fear, but he instills authority, kind of confidence into his children. Then coming about bonding. Even if two of you are there, it depends on how you manage your home. You can have a home or you have a house. So for instance, my father used to tell us, you talk about your family by 4 a.m. Because in those days, we wake up, we hear them talking, with my mother, they're talking about how to deal with us. So they don't give us chance to see our mother as liking them. You know what I mean? Yeah. If my father slaps you, mother will slap you twice. So they themselves have a secret way of not giving us the chance to love either of them. So they discipline us to know that the mother is right, the father is telling you the right thing, that your mother can't deceive you. So it depends on this modern society. So they must go with that. It's not everything that we're going to throw away that happened in the old age. Bonding must stand with the parents. You and your wife must start bonding. Because there are people who are married for 10 years, they are not bonding. There are people who are married for 10 years, apart from that day they did marriage and kissed. They have never kissed up to after 10 years. It's true.
Madam, is it true?
No, I mean, her own may not be true. Her own may be good. It depends on the individual. There are men.
He's a pastor, he must have had experience of counseling.
I'm telling you, we have the counseling. There are men who don't kiss naturally. But during that time, you so quick to your bride. If you see them finding it difficult, because they are not used to it. Maybe they are not socialized.
You might be quite right. There's someone that said yes, a man, yes, he was on air, it was a quote of the comedians that said, if you see an African man and his wife romancing, you think they are fighting.
So that is what it is. So that where there is knowledge, this knowledge, this elderly old knowledge, we have to bring them up to pep it up in the modern society. The woman and the child must not, even when you separate, if there is that bonding must be there. The woman must always allow the father to come and see the children and give them some, some gingering. Listen to your mom. Are you taking your school serious?
So OJ, what you are saying is there is no balance.
There is no balance. So when there is separation, there can be balance. These children may be loving mommy may have soft spot. When they are said they are weak, it's not because they are not intelligent. It's because women are very sober. Yeah. They can become weak. A man can say no. You go, you're not going there, and stand. But the mommy can say it before 12 hours, mommy, and the mommy says, she will relax and even give him ice cream to go. You see, that is motherhood.
Yes, I agree. But you know the story of Margaret Thatcher. She is also a mother. It's not all women that are that soft.
How many of them?
There are a lot of women that can put their feet down. Yeah. Okay. Then when you come to families, even today, you can see some families where they say, mommy will kill you. If it's daddy, daddy will not do anything.
I agree.
So it's there, but it's either way. Although I agree with him, it's natural. God made it natural that there should be two parenting. The child needs the influence of both parents. Okay, the father figure is very important in the life of a child. Very, very, especially even if he's a male. If a man brought up by a woman,
it's almost like a weakling.
Brought up by a man,
there's always a difference. Yes,
there's a big difference. So both are important.
Okay. So one more question before we go. Now the question will go to two of you. Now the issue of from what we have been able to pick in this discussion, the issue of divorce, the issue of adoption, and the issue of circumstantial, that is accidental death, all create single parenthood. Now, which of these dominantly accounts for single parenthood? Would you say it is divorce or adoption or accidental childbirth? Which of these, madam?
Well, actually, you can't generalize. You can't generalize. It's certain circumstances and scenarios appear in different spaces. Cannot be the same narrative.
You cannot place a finger.
You can't place a finger on it.
Which one accounts?
No, you can't really place a finger on it.
Okay,
anything can happen.
No, I agree with that, but if ordinarily from what we see, you can find out that more now this single parental thing or parenting come from child abuse, what we call rape. That is where it's coming from now for me. Because if as a journalist, if you go to, I don't want to mention, but let me give it to Catholic, these women, what do you call them now?
Catholic Women's Society.
No, the Catholic, the sisters. Okay. Most of these sister organizations in the Catholic in the Catholic Church, they have these motherless homes.
Okay.
If you go there and investigate, you find out that 60% of the children come from rape.
Okay.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And poverty in the family. The child was selling hawking water and she was deceived. It may not be rape, but she says, my child, somebody was deceiving her, buy me as you buy this. She becomes pregnant, the man elopes. It happens if you go around naked where you have all these things.
Where they have
yes, if you investigate, sometimes I did a magazine on it. Okay. That was the greater percentage of what happened. Then you come to divorce, which we also talk about in the church. You find out that little things, especially poverty now, especially poverty, little things, you know, can separate parents, and it's happening now. The sense of divorce we have now is because of economic challenges, and that is why we go out of our way to tell parents, if you have a very unique family, a family that is organized now with the kind of bad leadership Nigeria has, you may not understand what I'm telling you. You may think it's normal, but there are threats of divorce, especially among young men. People are not mature enough, you know, about life. They just got into marriage. The girl is not, I say, I want to marry a young girl. I mean, in those days, people don't marry, you know what I mean? Like, madam, you may be doing work, you are in the ministry 2 years, your husband is in the ministry 4 years. Do you understand? You are earning money, this person earning money. The tension, financial tension is not there. It's not an issue. But now the girl is just doing nothing. She doesn't have a trade. She has not been trained. Yes, given. She came out from the university.
No skill.
No skill. And the pressure is on the man.
Okay.
So these things are working. The moment your child goes into secondary school, you know, and start going to JS1, the burden on the man becomes a challenge. And the woman must say, buy me eyelid, buy me. And the man says, well, is it all you do? Sit down at the extension. We talk about this in the church. So you now begin to talk about. No, she's laughing because she knows it's truth. So no. You must not only women, but the man himself too. There are men who are very lazy. Very, very lazy. You see, you don't have a work, and you cannot. You go to. You want to have 3, 4, 5 children. And when the woman say, let us take it easy, you don't understand it. There's a friend of mine, he has 7 children. And what does he do every day? He goes there, he goes there. The other day I had to buy fleet for him to make sure that, mosquito doesn't bite him. And you have too many children and you don't have a job. So there is a very serious need. I think that is the essence of this program. We have to wrap it up on that. The society must be advised. Yes, we have to advise the society, especially you, generation. These things have changed. It's not like in those days when they said, I'm 10. These things are no longer that one. Now, what do you do? If you are a man whose income is subsistence, get two boys, 1 girl, 3 children. Just buy as long as, exactly. Raise children as much as you can care. Let me tell you, if your children are not educated, they will remain poor.
Okay.
In the current edition, anybody who is not educated, you have built a foundation of poverty.
Okay, thank you so much. Madam, what's your final word before we run down the program?
Well, single parenting is not advisable. It has more disadvantages than advantages. So anything you can do to curtail it. Education, like you said, is very important. Enlightenment. Guide the girl child. Protect the girl child so that you can prevent single parenting of all sorts. Yes. And another thing, get a skill. No matter who you are, no matter your age, so long as you can use your hands and you have a brain, get a skill. Even now that your youths are trying to japa, if you japa with your first class, they will still ask you what skill you have.
What can you do?
It is very important. So let's not look down on skilled labor or acquisition, skill acquisition. Education is very important, but also while you're getting the education, get a skill so you can sustain yourself. Because the way our economy is now, if you have 4 children, you actually need 4 different types of sources of income to sustain yourself.
It's okay.
Sorry, finally, let me chip in there. What I have to say on the part of the government, we have too many schools, secondary schools that are not producing anybody. You have secondary schools, this secondary school, this secondary school. For me, those schools should be turned into technical and vocational schools, where these children should be taught, Madam Cookery, what do you call that thing in the school? Catering. At that level, so that in those days our parents used to produce tailoring this. So a child, when you come back there, they're already doing table mat and all that. It's no longer there. We have to go back to that so that somebody comes. I worked with some Ghanaians before Ghana must go as a manager of a company. Those Ghanaians, every of them can repair fan. They can repair their sandals. They don't go call cobbler. They do their cobblers. They are electricians, but that's not what they're doing. One of them is an electrician, but he's doing cobbler work, he's doing anything because of the kind of curricula in their school in Ghana. So Nigeria must introduce these schools here. You see everybody coming here every day. You see children roaming here. They are not skillful. Let us be. That's the easiest way to do it. Because if you come out of secondary school, that like you're training this young man here, he's becoming skillful. He's becoming skillful.
That is turning the society from consumption to production.
Okay, I can see where she's coming from. So that is my idea. So these governments that are coming, now that we have new government, the governors and all that, this year project, bring them here, tell them to build in secondary school, this secondary school, this secondary school. It's no longer, let it be secondary technical school. And you bring resource persons. Carpenters who may be illiterate, let them speak Igbo to them. As far as they know how to do it. That is what is happening in China, it's happening in Japan, all over in Asia.
Anyway, Oja, I think we may need to
have do
another session
on this
where
one.
we will now bring out these issues.
It's very important.
And properly. Well, thank you for coming to the program, Oja.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, Madam Adim, thank you for coming to the program.
The pleasure is mine.
Yeah, viewers, so this is where we draw the curtain for today, and you have heard it all from them. They have profiled solutions to these issues, and I think what they said makes a lot of sense. So please, if you are getting into single parenthood, you know what is down there for you. My name is Afam AC. Remember to like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube platform. Thank you for being part of the program.